Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is taken from Canto 2, The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 10, Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. This morning we're doing text 10. Without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari, Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari, Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacharya Stotra Satati Srimada's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacharya Stotra Satati Srimada's Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Ganga Mayi Ki Jai, Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Nitai Guru Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga. God Shri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Jeta Swami. Sri Krishna Naya. Prabhupada Sri Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti. Narayana Namaskritya Narunte Narotamam. Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Vajirayat. Nashta Prayeswa Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, devotees, please accept our obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 10. puruṣo ṇḍaṁ vinirbhidya yadāsau vinirgataḥ ātmano yanam anvicchann srākṣīc chuciḥ. puruṣo ṇḍaṁ vinirbhidya yadāsau vinirgataḥ ātmano yanam anvicchann srākṣīc śucīḥ. puruṣo ṇḍaṁ vinirbhidya yadāsau vinirgataḥ ātmano yanam anvicchann śucīḥ. Hare Krishna. Please chant.
puruṣa-ṇḍaṁ vinirbhidya yadāsau vinirgataḥ ātmano yanam anvicchann srākṣīc chuciḥ. Hare Krishna.
puruṣo-ṇḍaṁ vinirbhidya yadāsau vinirgataḥ ātmano yanam anvicchann srākṣīc chuciḥ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
puruṣo-ṇḍaṁ vinirvīdya yadāsau vinirgataḥ ātmano yanam anvicchann srākṣīc chuciḥ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right, we'll do word for word. Purusha, the Supreme Person, Paramatma. ṇḍaṁ, the universes. Vinirbhidya, making them each separately situated. Yada, when. Asa, the same. Sa, he, the Lord. Vinirgataḥ, came out. Ātmana, of himself. Yanam, lying in place. Anvicchann, desiring. Apa, water. Srākṣīc, created. Śucīḥ, the most pure. Śucīḥ, transcendental. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord Mahā-Viṣṇu, which came out of the Causal Ocean, the place of appearance for the first puruṣa-avatāra, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, Garbhodaka. You have to excuse me for this. Okay. Sorry about that. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. After analysis of the living entities and the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, the independent source of all other living beings, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is now presenting the prime necessity for devotional service to the Lord, which is the only occupational business of all living entities. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and all his plenary portions and extensions of plenary portions are not different from one another, and thus the supreme independence is in each and every one of them. In order to prove this, Shukadeva Goswami, as promised to King Pariksit, describes herein the independence of the puruṣa-avatāra, personality of Godhead, even in the sphere of the material creation. Such activities of the Lord are also transcendental, and therefore they are also lila, or pastimes of the Absolute Lord. Such pastimes of the Lord are very conducive to the hearers for self-realization in the field of devotional service. Some may argue, then why not relish the transcendental lila of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Mathura and Vrindavan, which are sweeter than anything in the world? Well, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to creation, maintenance, and destruction are verily relishable by the prakrita, or mundane devotees of the Lord. As the yoga system, mainly based on bodily exercises, is meant for the person who is too much attached to the bodily conception of existence, similarly, the Lord's pastimes related to the creation and destruction of the material world are for those who are too materially attached. For such mundane creatures, the functions of the body and the functions of the cosmic world through physical laws in relationship with the Lord are also therefore included in understanding of the lawmaker, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The scientists explain the material functions by so many technological terms of material law, but such blind scientists forget the lawmaker. The Srimad Bhagavatam points out the lawmaker. One should not be amazed by the mechanical arrangement of the complicated engine or dynamo, but one should praise the engineer who creates such a wonderful working machine. That is the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. Devotees are always full with praising the Lord, who directs the physical laws. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 10, the direction of the Lord upon the material nature is described as follows. Maya dyakshena prakriti sriyate sa chara charam itnanena konteya jagat viparivartate. The material nature, full of physical laws, is one of my different energies. Therefore, it is neither independent nor blind. Because I am transcendentally all-powerful, simply by my glancing over material nature, the physical laws of nature work so wonderfully. The actions and reactions of the physical laws work on that account, and thus the material world is created, maintained, annihilated, and annihilated again and again. Men with a poor fund of knowledge, however, become astonished by studying the physical laws both within the construction of the individual body and within the cosmic manifestation. And foolishly, they decry the existence of God. Decry means condemn the existence of God, taking it for granted that the physical laws are independent without any metaphysical control. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 11, replies to this foolishness in the following words. Avajananti mam mudam manusim tanim ashritam param bhavam ajanantu mama bhuta maheshwaram. The foolish men, mudha, do not know the personality of Godhead in his eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The foolish man thinks of the transcendental body of the Lord as something like his own, and therefore he cannot think of the unlimited controlling power of the Lord, who is not visible in the acting of the physical laws. The Lord is, however, visible to the naked eyes of people in general when he descends himself by his own personal potency. Lord Krishna incarnated himself as he is and played very wonderful parts as the Lord himself, and the Bhagavad Gita concerns such wonderful actions and knowledge. Yet, foolish men will not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Generally, they consider the infinitesimal and the infinite features of the Lord, the infinitesimal, that is the smallest, minute, and infinite features of the Lord, because they themselves are unable to become either the infinitesimal or the infinite. But once you know that the infinite and infinitesimal sizes of the Lord are not his highest glories, the most wonderful manifestation of the Lord's power is exhibited when the infinite Lord becomes visible to our eyes as one of us. Yet his activities are different from those of the finite beings. Lifting a mountain at the age of 7 years and marrying 16,000 wives in the prime of his youth are some of the examples of his infinite energy. But the mudhas, rascals, after seeing them or hearing about them, decry them as legendary and take the Lord as one of them. They cannot understand that the Lord Sri Krishna, although in the form of a human being by his own potency, is still the Supreme Lord with full potency as the Supreme Controller. When, however, the Mudas give submissive and oral reception to the messages of the Lord, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or Srimad Bhagavatam, through the channel of disciplic succession, such Mudas also become devotees of the Lord by the grace of his pure devotees. And for this reason only, either in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, pastimes of the Lord in the material world are delineated for the benefit of those men with a poor fund of knowledge. Om Gnanati Mirandasya Gyana Gana Shalakaya Chakshu Amritam Dhyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirveshesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Sitayini. Namo Mahāvadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurachiche Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. The English translation again. After separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, Mahā-Viṣṇu, which came out of the Causal Ocean, the place of appearance for the first puruṣa-avatāra, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, Garbhodaka. So, this is Shukadeva Goswami describing the creation as well as the supreme will of the Lord, the desires of the Lord, connected with the material creation. There are a number of points that have been made by Srila Prabhupada in the purport that I personally can't wait to get to them because it's quite phenomenal, and they are also very much an eye-opener as to how things are to be regarded by devotees, but we'll get there. For now, to be a little bit patient and go through this. After separating the different universes, the universes first came out of the pores of Mahā-Viṣṇu. Karanadakshayi Vishnu, or some Karanana Vashayi Vishnu. These are all the same personality. Mm. So the Lord then desired to enter in each of the universes that came out of his force. Therefore, based on that desire, then he expanded himself into Garbhodaka Vishnu, so that in that form of Vishnu, he could go into every separate universe. So sometimes the comparison is made that for us, the soul is the real person, and the soul is the heart, it's in the heart area. So the very being, we have this physical body, we also have a subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. But the physical body is a heart, and that's where the seat of existence is. The soul is in the heart area. So the comparison is made that for each universe, the soul of that universe is Garbhodaka Vishnu. It is because of him that the universe appears to operate. And we say appears to only because it is said like that in Srimad Bhagavatam, the very first text. It is by the will of the Lord that even though this is a reflection of the spiritual world of reality, it appears to operate like, it is on its own and one can be here and one can do things. But at the same time, the material world is designed to make life difficult. Hard labor is punishment. Everybody knows because we have these souls that tell us we would much rather be in situations where we're enjoying ourselves. You don't have to work hard for anything. But now we have to work hard. We have to go get things that this morning I just rushed to the grocery store because something was short of here that I normally use in the morning. And I had enough time to go get that done. So I went and got it. And I had two realizations before I parked the car. First, when I turned into the neighborhood, I saw all of these cars with the engines running and the lights on. Then it hit me. Yeah, these are parents with little children in their cars. They're waiting for the school bus. Well, that seems normal. People take school bus, it takes them to the school, and the teachers teach them, and at the end of the day, they come back again in the school bus, and the same vehicles come get them and take them home. So what's so different? But then I started thinking, is it like that in the spiritual world? The vehicles come take little children and teach them? No, the soul is eternally full of knowledge. So in the spiritual world, we don't go to school. But here, because the weather is cold, the parents have to keep the children in the cars to wait for the bus. So what we're doing, the point we want to make is, this material world gives us challenges. And the life that we say is sophisticated and nice is only ways to counteract the problems that the material world throws at us. This is Adideti Klesha. The disturbances or the worries or the challenges set to us by the demigods. They control every part of our body and they control the weather also. So now it's cold. And so what do people do? They put their kids in their cars and they keep the heat on in their cars. And for a short while, when the bus comes, then the kids will run out into the cold and right back on the bus to get into the warmth. And the bus will maneuver. And we just hope that nothing happens on the road because people are crazy. And somehow this bus driver has been extra careful just to get them to school. Everything is based on anxiety and being careful and being careful and being careful. But we think it's normal. We think it's normal. And so we really have been fooled by coming to the material world. That's understanding that devotees have to have. You talk to non-devotees, they're going to think you're crazy for saying things like that, even though they know they're suffering. But this is the reason why the Lord, out of his mercy, he comes himself, like he did in the Mahabharata time, or he sends his pure devotees as representatives They come as a spiritual master to teach, to connect those who are ready to go home. And sometimes he comes as different incarnations. Maharaj Prithu, Maharaj Shabdev, Kapila Muni. That's the Lord himself. Dattatreya. Like that. That's he himself in different incarnations, looking different from the original personality, just to come again, teach us things in the hope that some devotees, some of these living entities, especially those in the human bodies, will get more connected. The pastimes of the Lord, which is described a little more in the purport section, the pastimes of the Lord are meant to excite devotees so that they can compare the lives they're living now in the material world to the fun that Krishna is having and make the decision, I think I should go join the fun. This would be very good if I did that. So the spiritual world is described to us, but that's all that can happen. It's going to be described to us. It's not going to be shown to us because the sky, the material sky, covers the material world. And the spiritual world is on the other side of the sky. So with these eyes, we're not going to see it. The only way in which we're going to perceive its existence is for someone from there to come tell us that it's like that. And this is a place that you're struggling hard to live. That's our situation. We are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manashastani Dhyani Prakritistani Kashati. That's the problem. We are struggling so hard with the senses here to live in this material world. The 6 senses, we include the mind. We know that there's a sense of sight, and that's the eyes for that. The sense of smell, that's the nose for that. The sense of hearing, that's the ears for that. The sense of tasting, or that's the tongue or the mouth. And then, of course, the skin for touching. So these 5 senses and the mind, which is the master of the senses, we're living like that. But Krishna says we are parts and parcels of him. And he's every time you see, turn around, anything that involves Krishna, he's enjoying himself. So we are also meant to enjoy with the Lord. All the Lord wants is a relationship between us and him to be reestablished, because we broke it. We were in the spiritual world, we broke it. And since we were being a disturbance in the spiritual world, we had to be put out of this. Then that's like that. We had to be put out. Anybody that causes disturbance in a place where there's order, they get put in a place along with other people who are disturbances, and that becomes a prison. So the cosmic prison is this material world. And Srila Prabhupada made a point in the purport, which is quite interesting. First, he says, the prime necessity for devotional service to the Lord is the only occupational business of all living entities. This is why Chaitanya Charitamrita is a report about devotees the way it is. It's put together about the activities of the devotees of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada is saying here, the prime necessity for devotional service is the only thing that we should be thinking about. Our real job is devotional service to the Lord. Right now, we're holding jobs and getting old and getting sick and paying taxes and all of that because we are away from the Lord. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotees of the Lord, the associates of the Lord, you don't see any point where they say they're working. They're with the Lord, they're going different places, they're going to where the deities are in Jagannath Puri, they're coming back. And when they go back in different places, they travel, what do? They praise the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They relate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's all based on love. It's all based on love. Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are absolutely phenomenal. But Srila Prabhupada says you read Bhagavad Gita to get a basic understanding of the Lord and ourselves and how to relate to the Lord, our position. as eternal servants, minute eternal servants of the Lord, with some qualities like the Lord. Not all, but at the same time, having some small independence. And how we use our independence is what makes the difference between staying in the spiritual world or coming to the material world to come suffer. So no, the life that we're living here is not the real life. It's a shadow of the real life. And it is also designed in such a way that our independence is still intact. We can do whatever we want to do. Of course, within the laws, but whatever we want to do. But at the same time, there is suffering. And the suffering is also the mercy of the Lord, so that we don't get too comfortable with this place. Because we're willing to work hard in order to get conveniences for ourselves. But actually, we're working hard only to counteract the troubles that the material world gives us. That's all that's really going on. When your eyes are open, you see it's like that. Why else would be parents take their children, put them in a car because outside it is cold, and they're waiting for a bus so that they can go to school to study something, so they can get a job and pay taxes and everything else, and get old and get sick and die just like everybody else is going through. Is that life? We need to question ourselves. Is this the life we want to live? Any intelligent person would say no, especially for what Srila Prabhupada has revealed to us. So this creation for the material world, Srila Prabhupada is explaining first with a question that some may argue, why not, if it's a transcendental Leela of the Lord that he does in Vrindavan and Mathura, so wonderful. Why don't just things get set up in such a way that everybody can relish that? And he says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan, the ones in Vrindavan, they are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Why is this statement there? When people who are not advanced involve themselves in hearing the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan and Mathura, people who are not advanced tend to process what they're hearing from a material standpoint. They process what they're hearing from a material standpoint in that they just try to compare, well, this is the life we live here. Is it similar to what I'm hearing about Krishna and Krishna's devotees in Vrindavan and Mathura? Yeah, I think it seems like the same thing that we've been doing here in this material world, and that's where the mistake is. Pure devotees of the Lord never look at it that way. And Krishna himself has said, Janma karma chame divyam. My appearance and my activities are transcendental. People tend to look at it from a material standpoint. Oh, Krishna is one of us. Why? Because by his own sweet will, he's decided to descend looking exactly like a human being. So then people say, well, if he looks like that, then he must be like us. He's just a Superman with a little more capability, but he really is like us. They don't understand the supreme dominion of the Lord. So many things that he can do, so much that his mind works, the capabilities of his mind, we can't get anywhere close to it. Like he was telling Arjun. Arjun, I explained this Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. Arjun says, sun god? You like what, 120 years old, something like that? And the sun god has lived millions of years. How could you possibly explain to him that way? It's a typical question that a person who just adds 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, math do. It's just the math doesn't add up, Krishna. You just came here. You can't be that old. I know the sun god is millions of years old. How can you have given this information to the sun god? So then Krishna had to tell him, we've been born so many lifetimes. Isn't that our situation? So many lifetimes I've come with you. We've gone to different places. I remember every one of them, but you don't. And that's exactly our situation. We don't know how many lifetimes we've been here. Sometimes if you meet people who know numerology or they can read palmistry, some of the, if they're good at it, they can tell you a few things about yourself. And I know that for a fact because it's been done for me. So some things that I can connect and I have a little understanding the way I am now based on the past times. So I know they are accurate, mostly accurate. But this is neophyte devotees. Srila Prabhupada says they will not understand the activities of the Lord. In one lecture by Srila Prabhupada, he made it clear that the pastimes, especially the rasa dance between Krishna and the gopis in Vrindavan, before he described the nature of it, he quoted so many, 3 or 4 different slokas in Sanskrit, which I have to admit or confess went over my head because I had never heard those slokas before. But when he came back to speak in English, he said, if you hear the pastimes of the Lord and the gopis, it should make you less lusty. That was the point he was making. Their pastimes of the gopis with Krishna and Srimati Radharani with Krishna should make a person who hears it less lusty. Now, many people who hear about the pastimes of the Lord, they don't become less lusty. It's the opposite. They become more lusty. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada makes the point. Pure devotees would become less lusty. Pure devotees would relish these pastimes. But those who are conditioned souls trying to involve themselves in growth in Krishna consciousness won't be able to understand it so well. This is why Lord Chaitanya has put us in the realm of his mercy. Chant the holy name of the Lord. You may hear about the pastimes, and the only extent to which we can go where Krishna's pastimes, the gopis, are concerned, the extent to which you go is 1, it exists. 2, when we go back to the spiritual world, there's a possibility to be in that group and also enjoy relating to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is there for us when we go back to the spiritual world, because there all services are voluntary. So it's there for us, but for now, we're trying to get ourselves situated properly because we are not, we're not at that stage where we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead at that high level. The devotees know. They do know. That is the pure devotees, they do know. But for us, it will take a while. It will take a while. And we have to be patient and keep chanting the holy name of the Lord. So for those who are not advanced, Srila Prabhupada explains, that's us. If you're like me, you're not that category. So for them, the prowess of the Lord based on the creation, Mahā-Viṣṇu, Garbhodaka Vishnu, Lord Brahma, the demigods, that's described by Shukadeva Goswami, how they all take part in the creation of the kind of world that we're used to, the material world. So that part is for those who are not advanced. Srila Prabhupada also makes the point that the scientists are busy trying to explain the technology, the material laws, and how they function. But these blind scientists, Srila Prabhupada says, they forget to say anything about the lawmaker, the maker of the material law. Things function that way. Things function this way and this way and this way. In fact, they even credit Newton for the laws of motion. But Newton did not make anything move to save his life. He couldn't do anything. He just observed and made a few points about it. But the point is, who created motion? That they don't want to talk about. So Srila Prabhupada says, we should not be amazed about the mechanical arrangement of a complicated engine. But we should praise the engineer who created such a wonderful thing. So we should only talk about this is here in this material world, that's here, and that is here. Yeah, material world is what we used to. We live here. But we should talk about how wonderful the creator of that is, and that is Lord Vishnu. So, Srila Prabhupada quotes Mahā-Viṣṇu Prakriti Siyate Sacharacharam. The material nature, full of its physical laws, that's just one of the multifarious, the different energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is not independent like the scientists think. It is not blind like the scientists think. It is controlled by Krishna just simply glancing over the material nature. And with that, things start working. His energies, all energies are energies of the Lord. All things that are able to move is because from the energies of the Lord, they move. We ourselves, our living force, we call the soul. We actually live in the heart of this cage that we're in, which is called the human body. And other living entities, other 8 million types of non-human type body, the soul lives there. But this is our situation. The soul is the life force. The consciousness that makes any part of our physical body move, that force is from the soul. That's why, and it's not difficult to prove, that's why as soon as the soul comes out of the body, now the body is still there, all the parts are still there, but they can't move for nothing. Can't move to save it. It's life, nothing. A dead body can't do anything. People just get rid of it. Different ways, cremation, burial, whatever. So it's only when the soul is present that consciousness and everything about the machine, which is called the body, works. That's why Prabhupada quotes Krishna, translates Krishna saying, this is like a machine, yantra. That's what we have. But our real nature is the soul, and that we need to prepare to leave this place to get to the soul's real destination where it's happy. And as I said, I went to get a couple of things from the grocery store. And I was thinking, coming after seeing these kids waiting for the bus, they're going to go get some material knowledge to try to live in this world here, which is quite brutal in this Kali Yuga. And myself, I said, well, I've got some milk and some bananas, which is exactly the two things that I got, milk and bananas. If I was in the spiritual world, would I need to go buy milk? Just by desiring it, it'll be there. And that from the Surabhi cow, too. Best type of milk you can get. And from the desired tree, if I wanted a banana, I'll get bananas. But here, I got to go to the grocery store, drive, pay for it, and you get it free in the spiritual world. So the point we're making is nobody should get fooled by how much technological development is in this country or any other country. Don't get fooled by it. Don't get fooled by it. Just because you live in a decorated prison does not mean that you're free. You still live in prison. That's the point that we need to understand. So no matter what is around us, we shouldn't get so attached to it. This is why Vairagya is there. Detachment, detachment, detachment. Be detached from the material energy and be attached to Krishna. The business is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we spend more time doing the material things, we should consider ourselves, for the time being, unfortunate. I have one God brother. I went to visit him in Maryland, and he's a doctor. And he's always, his job involves having to go in the operating room, and he has his, of course, his function there. And I had just retired from teaching. And we talked a little bit. And when he found out that I had just retired, he looked forward. He just started, in America, they say knock on wood. He actually did it. He actually started knocking on the nearest wooden structure to his house. He says, my turn will come, my turn will come. He's looking forward to retiring also. Hmm? Very, 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 very much connected with service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a matter of fact, my Guru Maharaj's deities are in his house. And another set of deities that was worshipped by, that were worshipped by, they are Radha Krishna deities. They are also in his house now. And he's looking forward to retirement. So he can do what? So he can serve the Lord more. He was kind of feeling sorry that, and I have to go to work and I have to be at work sometimes in the middle of the night because of surgery and everything. It depends on the patient and how far we get to it before we go home. Now he earns, 6-figure salary, but look what he has to go through. Comes home tired like anything. But we still think we're enjoying. That's why Krishna says, Manashastani Indriyani Prakritistani Kashati. We're using these senses to work hard. When the Kalpa-Vriksha trees, the desire trees, can give us anything we want. All we have to do is go back home. So that's the whole point of living the spiritual life. And I wish the whole world knew about it, because they wouldn't be fighting each other. They'd be preparing to go home for a better place and a better situation and a better lifestyle with no anxiety at all. So the material world has been created, yes. People who want to be their own bosses, they've been created. The planets have been created for them. But when devotees understand this, that this is not home for us, and we should be preparing to go home, Krishna wants us to spread this message as much as possible to everybody else in as simple a way that people can understand as possible. Make the arguments that life that we're living here is crazy. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that life is crazy, but they can't put a finger on why it is like this. And they keep bothering everybody else, pointing to politicians. Politicians point to this, and this country points to this other country. This has happened, that's happened. And then the people are trying to change the minds through the press of all kinds of things that they want people to think a certain way. All of this, you can just, Krishna says, chant, and I'll pluck you out of it and take you home. And you don't have to deal with any of it. So what wonderful promise if we will do our part. In the spiritual world, there are many ways in which we can relate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I'd like permission to go through a few of the relationships that we may have heard about them. There are 5 of them. Santaras, and Dasyaras. Santa is neutrality, to relate to the Lord in neutrality. This is the spiritual world now. Dasyaras, to relate to the Lord as a servant. Sakyaras, to relate to the Lord as a friend. Vatsalyaras, to relate to the Lord as a parent. And Madhuryaras, to relate to the Lord as a lover. We will go through some of them and the mentality behind it, so we have a good sense of any of the rasas that we would like to be involved in. This is the future we're talking about, preparing to go back home. So this is from the book called Sri Sri Prayo Bhakti Rasanarva, which is the love that the cowherd boys have for Krishna. But then, of course, it talks about many other things too, apart from that love. So 5 primary affections. Affections are called rati. And the word affection is used wonderfully here because it's all about love, the affection that we have for Krishna and Krishna's affection for us. So Santaras, which is, or Santarati, neutral affection, that mood is based on renunciation of sense gratification. And that we are already told to Maharaja Shabadeva says, we disconnect yourself from sense gratification, material sense gratification, no matter what it feels like. Just obey the regulated principles. those four regulative principles, and you pretty much have disconnected from material sense gratification. So renunciation is sense gratification is one, renunciation of sense gratification. To be situated, this is a person in Santaras, is also situated in their own personal bliss. They are happy within themselves, nijananda. They also have the conception of Krishna as the indwelling supersoul. They have a peaceful mentality. Pride and egoism are absent. And they are desireless for experiencing any of the transcendental loving humors of the Lord. Now, this part, desireless of any of the other transcendental loving humors of the Lord, those in Santaras are not looking forward to being the gopi, looking forward to being a cowherd boy, looking forward to be Krishna's mom or Krishna's dad. Those who are in Santaras, the neutrality, they are very much satisfied. They are blissful within themselves in the situation that they are in. Therefore, there is no envy. A personality who is in Santaras, for example, the grass in the spiritual world, very nice effulgent grass, or a tree, Kalpaviksha tree in the spiritual world. Everything is effulgent, even the trees are effulgent. They don't think, oh, what poor situation that I'm in. Here's another person, so with the same Satchidananda quality like me, and they are a gopi and they're dancing with the Lord, and I'm just a tree sitting here. No, they don't think like that. They don't think like that. And the only example that comes to mind that we can relate Santaras to the enjoyment that those in that ras experience is, take your favorite game, or some of you may like athletics, or some of you may like Super Bowl, some of you may like the NBA, whatever thing that you're interested in, that you're not involved in it, but you get to watch it. You get to just enjoy watching it. Don't people get very, 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 very excited when their team is winning, or somebody does something that's really intelligent, a slick move, and then they scored something and they got points on their side, and you look at the spectators. They are in a frenzy of enjoyment that they win. Now, why are we bringing that example up? Those who are in the Santaras, they don't get to involve themselves in the activities of loving exchanges between them and Krishna, but they are like spectators. And you already know in this material world how much of a frenzy of enjoyment and crazy, literally crazy happiness that people who watch, spectators watch. So those in Santaras, they get to watch. And now that we know our own spectators here and how they go through and what we feel after our team is winning, or in the whole process of the team and watching the whole game, how it unfolds. This is what those in Santaras watch. So they don't feel any need to be a football player themselves. People don't need to be, but they like to watch good football players play. That's Santaras. Dasyaras, servitude, affection. The mood is like this: conception of Krishna as the Lord and Master, Prabhu, and oneself as subordinate. Again, when someone has a master that is very, very rich, and therefore the master serves them well in terms of provides so nicely for them, even though they know they're a servant, but they live very well. And so they're happy, and they're happy to serve the master because the master takes such good care of them. That is the mood for Dasyaras. This type of service, they see Krishna as worshipable and one as a servant. Sakyaras, friendly affection. That mood is characterized by oneself being equal to Krishna. That's very different. Cowboy boys, they think they are the same level of Krishna in terms of they get to play with him, and he brings himself down to their level because he is actually the master. He has multifarious energies. The cowherd boys don't have multifarious energies. They have more energy, way, way more than ourselves, but still not at the level of Krishna. And Krishna is relating to them like he's just one of the guys, like that. They keep constant loving companionship with him. And they have an attitude bereft of the knowledge of his godly opulence, Aishwarya. They don't see him as Aishwarya at all. So they just relate to him in familiar sweetness. And by the way, they're the ones that get Krishna when he's going to tend to the cows. That relationship is with the cowherd boys. When the Sulabi cows go out in the morning, the gopis don't get to relate to Krishna. The mothers don't get to relate to Krishna. At that time, Krishna is with the cows and the cowherd boys. That relationship. So it's a good part of it. And in fact, there is some part in the Brihad-bhagavatamrita that the gopis were lamenting that when Krishna goes to the cowherd boys, we don't see him and he's only with them and they are more fortunate than we, the gopis, are. We have to be home and so on. It went on and on and on. And then they said even the birds are in a better situation than we than we are. Gopis are saying the birds can fly. They can fly and perch on the tree where they can be around Krishna. They can see Krishna. Relating with the cowherd boys and the cows. The birds can do that, but the gopis cannot. They could if they want to, but because the body and the soul is that versatile. But they were making the point that they don't usually do that because Krishna is with the cowherd boys. But when he comes home in the evening, and then the gopis get their turn. So it's like that. So parental affection, the last one we want to talk about. The reason we're talking about that one and not the Madhurya is already been explained. The Madhurya Ras is for pure high-level devotees, not for those of us that are startup devotees. So Vatsalya Ras, parental affection. That mood is characterized that Krishna is just a mere boy and he has to be protected. So there are activities of caressing him and nourishing him with affection and genuine selfless favor and preferential treatment to him and showing extreme loving attachment, just as one does to one's own child. So that's the Vatsalya Rati or Vatsalya parental affection for Krishna. And the Brihad-bhagavatamrita says the morning when Krishna is going with the cowherd boys and the cows, for the cows to go raise, they're going into the Vrindavan forest. This is in the spiritual world. It happens in India also, but in the spiritual world generally. But they show that just for the fact that it's going to have, Krishna will be gone, but they show that this doesn't know what to do with herself. First of all, he packs Krishna's lunch. And all the cowherd boys have their lunch. And they begin to leave. And Mother Yashoda, this is from Brihad-bhagavatamrita, will call Krishna back. Krishna stops and turns around. Have you, then he goes on, this, have you made sure you have this? You have your buffalo horn is with you? Did you take a flute? Yes, okay, mother. Yeah, but all right. Then she turns around, she tries to go home. She gets to her door, turns around, and calls Krishna again. Krishna, did you take this? And any kind of excuse just to get Krishna's attention. But Yashoda does that. And the way Brihad-bhagavatamrita described it, she would come up with at least 6 excuses until finally Krishna just acts like he's fed up. He's fed up with his mother. You gotta let us go. You gotta let us go. And then Mother Yashoda leaves Krishna alone. No more questioning. She goes to the house, wouldn't go inside, turns around, looks at them, and until they have totally disappeared, she can't see them again. And then she gets a little depressed and tries to gather herself together. Oh, Krishna will come back later in the evening. When he comes back in the evening, Krishna, Mother Yashoda is cooked very nicely. Mother Yashoda is on one side of Krishna. Mother Rohini is on the other side of Krishna at the table at home. They wouldn't even let Krishna eat. They take the morsels and feed Krishna. So this is so much love they want to give. that they wouldn't even let Krishna eat by himself. They feed him. But Krishna allows. This is all based on love. So, quite frankly, that's what we're missing. But by the Lord's mercy, if we take what we've been told to do in this Kali Yuga seriously, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and really, really, really go after service with all our hearts. Service is the greatest privilege that we have. Service, we say it again, it's the greatest privilege that we have. So take that seriously so that we can join a wonderful, anxiety-free atmosphere where everything is effulgent and there's no need to worry about anything. Everything is provided. So first, have the understanding so we can go home that pastimes of the Lord are transcendental and wonderful. And that some of it, especially the Madhurya Ras, the conjugal one, that's why we didn't spend time talking about that. They are primarily for pure devotees to enjoy connecting with, and for impure devotees, those of us working, to also marvel at it so that we can make a decision to want to join Krishna in the spiritual world. It is not for the demons. The demons don't care about Krishna. So Krishna just kills the demons so that there will not be any more trouble in this world. But, and finally, the material world, remember, it has its ups and downs. So it never guarantees lasting happiness. This is why Krishna helps us to key into the alternative lifestyle which is present. We have to call it alternative because we live in a material life now. The spiritual life is those who want to serve the Lord and his devotees have that opportunity. So, this is like Sankhya philosophy. Pick the spiritual over the material. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And I'm sorry I went a little long this time. I wasn't watching the time. Hare Krishna Nupumataji. So this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have any comments, you have any question, please unmute yourself and share with us. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Try to prepare to go home. We're very fortunate to even know what we know. The overwhelming majority of people in this world don't know about Krishna, and some may have heard about Krishna, and they don't even try to find out who he is, much less relate to him. But we're doing the right thing. Just have to take it seriously. So Maya does not, railroad our efforts. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? If not, then we thank you very much. We are the weekend now, and so have a wonderful Krishna conscious weekend wherever you are. Go to the nearest temple, associate with devotees, do service there. If your regular service is there, if you don't have regular service, ask the management for service. Because when we serve, then Krishna is pleased with us. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sundibhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.